Good afternoon, everyone. As you're trickling in, welcome to the first Lunch and Learn webinar of 2026 for our Northern BC Ecosystem Restoration Community of Practice. This is your Community of Practice Coordinator, May, speaking, and today we are joined by Wayne Salewski from NEWSS, the Nechako Environment and Watershed Stewardship Society. Sorry, Water Stewardship Society. I don't know why I always want to say watershed, Wayne. He has been the chair of NEWSS for the past 18 years, and today he's going to share some knowledge with us in a titled talk, Climate Change Adaptation and Beaver Dam Analogs. Without further ado, over to you, Wayne.
Thank you, May, and appreciate the audience. I understand that we're fairly large today, so that's always nice. NEWSS has been a society in a unique place in the province of British Columbia in that we are working out of the second largest agricultural belt in the province of British Columbia. With that comes a lot of challenges. We have over 32 streams that flow through this land base, which is unique in that we are working fundamentally on private land within this agricultural belt. We have 80% of those 32 streams that have salmon in them. The majority of them are non-natal nursery streams, and these nursery streams are challenged by agriculture, challenged by mountain pine beetle, certainly policies that make a healthy water system a challenge, but it's also with great privilege that we are on these private lands. And it is unique, and we'll talk about some of the uniquenesses, some of the challenges, and some of the opportunities that it brings. So before contact, we know we had millions of beavers and millions of salmon. The interesting part of that always is that question, will fish live behind beaver dams, or can they do that? And the answer is, for the most part, they absolutely function well, especially during these climate and climate change challenges that we have. So today we have drought. In fact, we're going into year 4 of drought. The slide that you see is one of those non-natal streams. This here is called Night Creek. That's Night Creek in its poorest condition, beautiful gravel bed, not an ounce of water in it. This is the 4th year, and I guess soon to be the 5th, as we're almost out of snow already. We have had decades of the largest wildfires on record. We are a managed river in that we live behind the Nechako Reservoir, and it's at a historic all-time low. If we had greater than average snowfalls 3 years in a row, we would still be in trouble here. And the Nechako Valley is suffering through that drought, and thus provides some opportunities. We have no hay in 2023, no pasture, no water, and we had record cattle sales. And so our average cattle sales are about $30 million. In 2023, we hit $50 million, and interestingly, in 2025, we hit 70 million. So that indicates a lot of those problems and challenges we're having with drought. We've been working on the agricultural sector for a long time. Our original work was replacing fish passage issues, crushed culverts, mouths of those streams with bridges, multiple culvert challenges as agricultural land was developed, as mountain pine beetle came about, as harvesting took place. We had a lot of flashy freshettes where we used to have 2 freshettes. We ended up having a single freshette, and you couldn't predict which particular day it was going to be on. So in response to that, we have launched a number of issues. We've been working really hard, and we're very blessed to have the University in Prince George, UNBC, and we're also a very progressive school district. And the school district is important for us because it provides a lot of learning opportunities for kids on the outside here. 50% of all children in school district 91 live in the country. And so that taking advantage of that conversation, of that knowledge is really important, because this brings that conversation to the kitchen table. And we've seen multiple evidences where changes have been made over this last 18, 20 years, with kids taking home a good message and their concerns or their involvement. We also have great partnerships with DFO over the years. They have given us trading fodder in the form of fences and wire. And so if we're doing a project, we have expectations that we fence off the livestock from the stream. So that's an important partnership. Drought brought us to a change of our priorities from fixing stream banks and adding coarse woody debris to actually working on beaver dams and beaver dam analogs, because we were running out of water. So that's our recent last 3 and 4 years history. Beaver dam analogs do a lot of things. The objective is simply to slow water down to grow a healthy riparian zone. A healthy riparian zone is great for fish, critically important for fish, but it's also critically important to entice beavers to move in, take over our BDAs, and create a life for themselves. And so having healthy riparian zones is a part of it. We are also feeding water into the aquifer, and this is a conversation that, interestingly enough, the agricultural community is not totally aware of. They're aware that there's things called aquifers, but the amount of them and underneath their land and where they are situated and the benefit to them is actually rather new. So teaching, educating, and supporting agriculture with doing that is a really important part of our process. To date, as of this year, we have installed 70 BDAs over the last 2 years, over 3 streams. We've also installed 20 shallow test monitoring wells. These wells are really critical to help demonstrate to the agricultural community the benefits of beaver dam analogs. Beavers and beaver dams are not naturally a favorite thing of agriculture, so this is a real intense educational opportunity and really important part of that whole process. We broke our beaver dam analogs down into 2 types of streams. One, a low gradient stream, which is obviously fairly easy to capture water in. The other being a high gradient, like the picture you saw of Knight Creek. Water has a tendency to disappear to the Pacific Ocean rather quickly. So we talk a lot about the types of restoration we're doing here, and if you're familiar, we use process-based restoration as a terminology. Simply, it is a process, and so nothing can happen in 1 year. You see that we're challenged with these issues, and it'll take 2 and 3 years to understand how to do it. But this here is a functioning stream, although it certainly isn't in its best form. Beaver dam analogs are simply building something like a lasagna. Thinking about building a lasagna, you have multiple layers, so we do too. We start with spruce boughs. We work our way through dirt or mud, adding willows on top, spruce boughs, willows, mud, etc. So we've actually captured that stream. You can see as we top this off with willows, the function that it's going through. We started off with 4 inches of water. Now you actually see one of the series of BDAs that is there. And you also see a very healthy riparian zone, although an agricultural standard of a riparian zone, you can see the aspen populations there. Good food, good opportunities. Early successes, 2024 was brilliant for us. We took a non-functioning stream. We created a healthy stream, a healthy issue that was there, and we had fish migrating in and out of the Nechako River quite en masse. Unfortunately, drought took us over again, and what we created actually ended up being a fish trap. And so we actually had to salvage the fish that were out of there in the late summer. But we did have 350 plus Chinook fry in there. So again, demonstrating the importance of these streams to the recovery of salmon populations. And we had over 250 rainbow trout. So again, by mid-August, we were in trouble. I didn't look at it as a failure, although it's not a great experience. It's just an incremental step in that recovery. So lots of describing a little bit what we're doing. This is a very low gradient stream here on Murray Creek, zero existing riparian zone, no beaver food, no windbreak. And it's interesting, of our 5 clients in that particular year, each client had a different reason for wanting beaver dams to be a part of their operation. This gentleman wanted a healthy riparian zone because he understood the value of snow interruption, slowing the wind down, cutting his losses on moisture. So it's an interesting experience to understand that everybody can do this for a different reason. No one particular person said anything about fish, but their reasons were personal to them, and we went with that. So this is that same stream after we had built our first BDA on the property. On this property, we built 8 BDAs who look exactly like that. They are bank high, so we have we're not creating any flood areas or flood issues. If there was enough freshet to have the stream flow over top of it, it would have flown by it without the BDA being there. So really important that we don't create floods or flood issues. We just simply capture the water, slow it down, create that feed into the aquifer, which is a very important to the field health, very important to the agricultural aspect. You will notice one of our great enemies in the Chaco Valley in the reed canary grass that's there. This is a very invasive plant, pretty to photograph, but absolutely a hindrance to fish passage and fish stranding. Beaver dams, working with the Ministry of Highways and our contractors, Beavers plug culverts. This is good for irrigation if you have an irrigation license, but is absolutely not good for fish passage. So working with the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure and the contractors is an important part of it. And we are actually very blessed to have a good relationship and working towards solving some of these. So in this particular case, we actually pulled the beaver dam plug out first, then built the BDA. So this is immediately above that plugged culvert. You can see the start of the lasagna, and if you gaze into the background there, you will see that it's actually a valley, and very large and a great ability to store water. In the immediate right side of that photograph is a pump house, and the high water mark is 2 feet below that tin roof. So this is a really problematic area for flashy water. Does nothing for us. The beaver dam house is still there. We built it right up adjacent to it, and the beavers are doing quite fine. In fact, muskrats came out and helped us building on the BDA. Guys, the 2 slides here, the first, the one on the left slide here is the building of the BDA. The one on the right is the spring freshet immediately following that. So again, you can see their BDA barely sticking out of there. Good fish passage, lots of opportunity for fish to go around. We were going to actually put a pond leveler on there, but we were pretty convinced that this was the end result here, and so we didn't, and we used the pond leveler in another spot, and I'm actually going to be able to show you. So you can see the amount of water that we have here. This gentleman can irrigate out of here, but we also have great fish habitat. We have a healthy riparian zone on one side of it, and we're planted it up to grow a lot of beaver food on the other. So this is a mechanism that's really necessary if we love the beavers, but we also have to work with fish passage on this. And so we put a pond leveler on this particular stream, and you can see the fish passage ability that's there. So we've created a fish ladder through that. This is our first year of using this particular device. You can see the amount of water that we have stored behind here. The farmer is very pleased with it, very proud of the issue that he is there. And this is just a series of one of 4 or 5 BDAs in a row that's really rehydrating the stream and having it function again for multiple reasons. So we talk a lot with our landowner. We have good beavers and bad beavers. We work heavily with Ministry of Forest staff in Walrus on this issues. We have to recognize that bad beavers need to be made into good beavers, and so moving them to other locations is hopefully an option, but also curtailing their excitement here. And so we built and installed this device on that originally plug culvert. You can see that we didn't really anticipate the amount of foliage that would be brushed up against it, but it was really easy to clean and certainly much cheaper than having the whole of the culvert plugged and having an excavator there for a day. We are very commercial in what we are doing. We have spent a lot of time with the BC Wildlife Federation and their staff, and we have learned much from what they do, but they're working in a different scale and in a different environment. And we are in an industrial agricultural belt. We have industrial size problems. And so where we used to collect our willows by hand, cutting each one individually and breaking it into the 2 or 3 components, we can't do it economically. So we talked our contractor into investing in a cutter head, and so he can now go in and harvest willows in great bunches, and we don't haul them any longer in the back of our pickup trucks. We actually use an end. So we have a commercial problem, an industrial problem, and an industrial solution. We use a lot of rig mats to protect our land base that is there. Interestingly enough, we've one of the first clients of second growth plantation thinning. So you can see on the one slide that we have purchased all of our posts. These are called post-assisted beaver dam analogs, and so those are untreated pointed posts that have come out of there. So a really economical and good way of utilizing a fiber, and certainly been successful. On the right-hand slide, you see our willows. That's one of 3 cuts, and so we're going into aged out willow stands, cutting them in 3 sections here and sorting them. So this is a sort. A lot of these would go into the planting aspect and the foundations, as opposed to the more luscious pieces going up on the top. We talked about building a lasagna, simply what it is. You can see remnants of our rig mats underneath. This particular BDA, once all of the material is moved to site, is about a 3-hour job, as opposed to the large one that you saw in the previous slide, which can be 2 and 3 days. Tremendous amount of planting that is there. So having streams functioning again is one thing. Worrying about the July and August heat waves is another. And so this rancher allowed us to build overwintering ponds, or all seasons ponds that are here. They're simply 10 feet deep, 35, 40 feet wide, 30 feet wide. They're attached beside the stream, and they have a function that allows the stream to flow in and out, but hopefully move the sediment on by. plant them up heavily with willows and cottonwoods, overseed them with grass seeds or appropriate seeds, cover them up with straw. This last year, we had the record-breaking vole season, and we struggled really hard with survivals. I thinking straw beds is good for seed protection and erosion protection, but it's also a good home for voles and mice, and so a bit of a learned experience. Aquifer and aquifer health is really critical to our conversation because we are on private land. We need to have farms and ranches understand the importance of what we're doing. It isn't just about fish. In fact, we like to shape the conversation to talk to it being about agriculture, and fish just happen to be a side product that are important. We have a lot of shallow wells that have gone dry in the Chaco Valley. So having people understand how slowing water down, having it penetrate into the aquifer is a positive, as actually gets us a lot of landowners allowing us onto their base. The provincial government has, over the last few years, installed 5 deep aquifer monitoring wells. We're really pleased with that buy-in and the relationship. We have, along with Alex Bevington from now UNBC and our staff at Avison Management, we've installed 20 shallow monitoring wells. These wells are all wired up to talk to each other. And currently one of each wells has the ability to talk to a cell tower or a cloud response satellite aspect of that. So what we're trying to do here is understand how we're penetrating, how good our penetration is of the water, where we're headed with that, share that data with the farms and ranches, explain to them how it's working. It's a work in progress. We're really excited about it, and it just feel it's a really important component. So although NEWSS is about salmon recovery, it has to be about agricultural recovery at the same time. Lots of lessons learned. We learned just a ton of things from doing it the first time. The first year, the province of British Columbia had 101 BDAs built. We had built 40 of them. We didn't anticipate how long it would take to build them. We were lucky to have a very late winter, so we had lots of opportunities in the fall. It was really an interesting conversation with the permitting staff of the Ministry of Forests. It was a learned experience for both sides. It was great to have the BC Wildlife Federation doing this across the province. We learned a lot from each other and could compare notes. We also really started to understand how much science was needed in order to convince both the permitters, our funders, and the agricultural community that this was really a positive for all sides of that. And then we just benefited from that aspect. Being on private land, we also wanted to ensure that the agricultural community understood that where they didn't have water, we could provide water. You see in this picture here that you have an interface issue that's there. So you have a place to hide your livestock, to push your livestock in. You have a place for first responders to set up an anchor. You certainly have providing water for that aspect of it. And then just the realities that farms and ranches were selling off their cattle herds and their livestock because they didn't have water. So now, with the proper permitting, you can actually water your livestock that's there. So adding stewardship values to the ranching community is a plus and has gotten a lot of attention. We're really pleased. The Ministry of Agriculture, in their first of 3 papers, the Premier's Review on Agriculture, makes mention for the first time that BDAs are a thing, that they're excited to see them that in operation, and we actually have the Minister of Agriculture coming up in the spring to view our work, which is helpful for funders. The observation wells, so on the left-hand panel, you see one of the province's 5 large monitoring wells. This is on the Crown's land adjacent to Highway 27 to Fort St. James. And then on the left, you see an example of one of the 20 BDAs, or the 20 shallow wells that we have that are doing that monitoring work. We hope to this year go into something called electrical resistivity tomography. So this is really destructive looking. This cable will lay on top of the agricultural ground, on top of the field, not be implanted forever. With it, we can put an electrical pulse down, and we can build a 2D model by moving this 100 meters down the stream and continuing to capture the whole of an area. We'll actually build a 3-dimensional model here, and we'll be able to demonstrate how well the water penetration is. Annual drone flights are critical. We have drone ability in today's technology that can actually show the changes in the magenta on the plant life that is there, so we can show the farms and ranches why those first outside rounds are really important to them there. And then with that, we have also involved ourselves into the eDNA program, environmental DNA. And environmental DNA is not new, but it's something that we have been doing here with the university in the Nechako Valley for the last 5 and 6 years. So we're really excited about that aspect of it. Showing fish presence, absence is helpful to our planning mechanism and certainly to our successes. Proof of concept is really important to us. And in conjunction with Spruce City Wildlife, who has a hatchery, I think the largest volunteer hatchery in the province of British Columbia, we pit tagged 2,000 Chinook fry from their hatchery, and we've planted them into 2 streams, one stream with beaver dam analogs on it, one stream with none. And we were looking at the in and out mobility of these fish as they migrate in and out of these BDAs and beaver dams. Interestingly enough, early results, about 1/3 of our fish have exited the stream and gone into the Nechako River. So that was interesting. In conjunction with the 2,000 Chinook fry that we tagged, we also tagged wild fish with the permission and permitting of the province. We've tagged, I think, over 350 Chinook wild fry, 250 trout, 10 mountain whitefish, which we were really excited about because we don't have a lot of evidence of them. We were lucky to also tag a bull trout, which historically spends their winters in McBride, Valemont area. And then we tagged everything and anything we got. So getting us some real good data over time. Really important, again, when you're working on private land, this is very disruptive, and we have to be careful with our presence. We're so excited about some of these things here that we're hosting tours every week, and yet recognizing that we're actually in somebody's backyard. And so we need to be careful. We're blessed with a lot of cooperation from a lot of landowners that are going through this. If we can demonstrate our influence on filling the aquifer, if we can grow the riparian zones back, and farmers and ranchers buy into that idea, we all win. Highly recommend this book by Erica Guys. She is a National Geographic author. She lives in Victoria most of the time. This book was kind of the Bible for me. It just really, truly demonstrated the high value of what slowing water down, allowing it to penetrate, creating those deeper pools did for us. It was very exciting. News next is continuing with our funding opportunities. We have now got 6 years of eDNA across the agricultural belt. So we're going to have this, we've been publishing this DNA annually and sharing it with everybody. It's on our news site, but we're going to spatially map it. That's this next month's work here. So we'll be able to demonstrate of the 40 some streams that have been sampled in the region annually, we'll be able to demonstrate fish presence, absence by species. Interestingly, we have 4 of the 5 Pacific salmon presence in our agricultural community. The only thing we don't have is chum. So we're going to, after we've created this base map and this eDNA, we're going to also map out the healthy riparian zones and share that with the agricultural community, because healthy riparian zones will help them in the drought. We're going to track our fish for the next 2 years. We've tracked it 1 complete year. And interestingly enough, just today we discovered why we have 22 or 23 foreign fish in our stream. The motor vehicle people have put tags in their vehicles that when they go by, our receivers are recording them, which is rather hilarious, but also disappointing. So if a vehicle gets stolen, it can be tracked across borders, and here we are tracking it on our streams. We're working strongly with Walrus to understand the long-term monitoring needs and methodologies. Walrus has become a great partner in this aspect of it, so we're really looking forward to that. Drought is an opportunity. I've said that several times. It's a kind of a hard pill to swallow, but it is giving us some opportunities. And so as landowners are paying a large price economically, having them buy into it has been grateful. And then working towards that drought resiliency is really important. Without our funders, and it's really important to recognize them. We have had a lot of funders, and we've had some really great learning experiences from all sides, particularly the university and School District 91. These teaching kids, having kids learn. We built ourselves an outdoor school beside 2 salmon-bearing streams. It's had over 1,000 kids a season out there doing sampling for us, and citizen science is science. You see, if you come into our region, these signs everywhere. I was excited to have a young lady explain to me her father thought that it was a cult that was putting these signs up. We're far from a cult. We're just a good stewardship group. And so this is our branding. The funders are on the backside of these ones here, which demonstrates our appreciation. And that's kind of it, May, if we want to have some questions.
Sure. I will stop the recording here. As I said, folks, you're welcome to use the Q&A function to put your questions in. I can also apparently turn on your videos and your ability to unmute. So if you'd like to use the raise hand feature to ask Wayne a question with your very own voice, that is definitely possible.